I guess I behaved that way for so long, where I'd take a bit of one of the Daddos. Maybe I want to be a little bit like Daryl Summers. Maybe I want to be a little bit like Rove McManus and pinch a bit of Ellen DeGeneres. I've only ever been the accumulation of other people that I've seen. And so I feel when I watch myself on television that I don't ever feel like that's really me.
Hello, this is Separate Bathrooms. My name's Daddo.
And I am her husband, Cameron Daddo.
Indeed.
And we're in the bathroom today.
We are. We have a couple coming in. We're talking with a couple that when you read all that they have experienced, you'd say that they were crowding the last chapters of their life. But no, they're actually quite young. They've got young kids and hopefully they've got a long lifetime ahead of them to keep on experiencing and creating more stuff for us to watch.
Yes, so one of them's on the telly. We were talking about him preparing for this chat, and Ellie and I agreed that he's got to be a national treasure in the making.
If not already.
Right? Yes. He's ridiculously affable. He's a total larrikin. He's kind, he's aware, and he's grateful for his life. He's almost lost it a couple of times, that we know.
Yep. His wife, we're going to get to know her a little bit better today too. They've been married for about 12 years and they have things to do. So let's not keep them waiting any longer. Welcome,
Chezzi and Grant Denyer. Welcome, Grant and Chezzi, to the bathroom. Gosh, you look good.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, your lighting.
Your eyes were looking at me when you said that. I assume that was for me.
Yeah, your lighting is absolutely spectacular. Alison, on the other hand, is a little toppy. My forehead's a little shiny.
Looks amazing. You've got your glow on, babe. You've got your glow on.
Yes, I do.
Look,
looks like a halo.
It does. Well, what can you say?
Thank you.
He's an angel.
We want to know how you two met. What was the first meeting like for the both of you?
Oh, that's a story for you, Grant. You tell it better than I do.
No, we hated each other when we first
Well,
met.
I could have said that.
Yeah. Comes pretty natural to you mostly. You start.
Well, we worked together at Sunrise. So I was Grant's producer and he was the weather man, and we didn't get on at all.
No, she...
Why? Why did you not get on?
Let's call it creative differences.
He was really annoying.
In truth, I was a young, ambitious pain in the ass who thought he knew everything, and she was a creative who thought, that she could push me around, and I didn't like that. So we clashed a lot. But that all changed one day. It was the Melbourne Cup. We just brushed hands accidentally, like spun around and just my hand touched hers. And then I just felt it felt like straight out of a Hollywood movie. I just felt this tingling sensation from the top of my head all the way to my toes. And I was like, and I had this instant light bulb reaction. Oh my God, I can't live without this woman. And from that moment on,
really?
Yeah,
it was really strange because we went from not liking each other at all. I did, but I tried to deny it.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was a bit scandalous. We both had partners at the time. So, but love comes in different shapes and forms and times.
Yeah.
Sometimes convenient, sometimes not.
It really shocked us, I think, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because we just went from, like when we say we didn't like each other, we did not like each other. I kept saying, please, can I produce anybody else at Sunrise other than Grant? Because he's always racing cars. He's off here, doing this weekend. He turns up really tired, maybe a bit hungover, after Dancing with the Stars. Can't find the location. It was doing my head in. So we struggled and then, touched hands and...
It's amazing.
Is that why you were trying to kill him on the show by making him do world records and setting himself on fire and riding bulls? Was that your thing? Was that when you were not liking each other?
You're the first person who's ever picked up on that, Cam. Yeah.
I was wondering why she upped my life insurance policy and then started really getting into the producing of dangerous stuff. All right, Guinness World Record this week. You're going to be the first to jump out of a helicopter tandem over Bondi. Are you sure you really love me?
And just that little strap might have just been slightly frayed.
Yeah,
I mean, The broadcasting from the Opera House steps naked. Was that your idea, Chez? That's clearly after the hand touching moment.
It was. We just got married. And we just agreed to go back to Sunrise together, to work together.
Which is a fair test for a brand new marriage.
Yeah. And so the first job that we had was at the Opera House, and I had the line producer in my ear saying, Grant looks like he's going to take his clothes off. He's not going to take his clothes off. I'm saying, no, he's not going to take his clothes off. He's taking his clothes off. Get the pixels ready. He surprised us.
Live pixels.
Yeah.
There's no one more stressed than the pixel operator that day. Like their job and career was on the line.
The control room was in absolute panic mode.
Look, I'll tell you why it started. Like there was 500 people on the steps, and it's weird that if you saw a nude person standing on the steps by themselves on a Wednesday morning at the Opera House, you go, that is pretty extreme. Weirdly, when 500 people are doing it, it just becomes this, I don't know, they just all blend into one another and it feels like a normal thing to do. And then a chant started, like this chant just from one person be like, Grant Denyer. And then one became 10 and 10 became 100, and then I was compelled from that point on.
How could you not take your clothes off with 500 naked people yelling your name?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wouldn't know where to look.
He had the worst hand marks because we'd just been like on a huge trip on a postie bike. So he had literally his calves and the bottoms of his arms were brown. The rest of him was white and very puffy.
Yeah, we just lived on, because we decided to ride a postie bike right across Australia from the most eastern point to the western point.
In the lead up to our wedding.
It was a stupid idea.
Now, and was this part of the TV show?
Yeah. Every day was
just
sort
for
of
fun.
No, this was part of Welcome Back to Sunrise. Yeah, Grant said we're going to go in a ute. I was driving the ute and trying to organise the wedding as I'm driving through the outback following Grant on a postie bike.
As it turns out, not a lot of service out there.
Evidently.
And not a lot of healthy food either. So we both had far too much salt and came back with very swollen legs and ankles. And
a lot of beef jerky, a lot of palmers and pints and schooners. So, I wasn't in great shape when I got naked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got married in 2010. So you've been married a dozen years thereabouts. What was that like? What was the wedding like? I mean, were you still salt bloated and all that sort of stuff, or did you fit your dress there, Chez?
My ankles matched my knees when I arrived. I had the worst preparation for the wedding at all.
He got on a plane to come back from the West Coast, and for whatever reason, at altitude, her ankles blew up. Like almost as big, like they were bigger than your thighs.
They were, yeah. And my feet were so, like, it sounds made up, but this is so true.
It's like elephantitis.
I had elephantitis of the legs, right? And so when I was, in the morning of our wedding, I was wrapping my legs in Glad wrap to try and get the circulation, going. Like I was making my own flight socks. I don't think we've ever told this story ever before. No. I don't know how this was ever.
It's a pretty glamorous one.
Yeah. It was a beautiful wedding though, wasn't it? It was amazing.
Yeah, unbelievable. Hamilton Island is where it was. We were very, very small. We only had 50 people there, and but it was just it was everything we dreamed of and more.
Yeah, and you then continued to work together for how many more years on Sunrise after you were married?
A year and a bit. So we had Sailor a year after we were married, and we just took her on the road with us. It wasn't until she started talking and yelling out, "Daddy, Daddy," in the middle of weather crosses that we thought, we might have to rethink this.
Well, we thought we'd had this great job traveling the country. We loved it. We thought, how amazing would it be to be brand new parents, brand new baby, and just kind of living on the road, like with a partridge family.
Right.
Which, is a really romantic notion. But the idea of a different hotel every night, a different part of the country every day, bottles, nappies, I don't know what we were thinking. Like she had nearly 100 flights in her first 12 months. It was a lot.
It was insane. I had mastitis 12 times. It's like every time we went on a very long plane ride, there's something about me with planes.
Yeah,
I
there
just
is.
blow up, yeah.
Well, not only that.
Yeah, that would make sense though, because the swelling, and then so that would swell into the milk ducts and cause the mastitis, which is unbelievably painful. Been there, yeah.
So painful.
Did you get your
I'm
cabbage
laughing.
leaves out?
No, there wasn't very many cabbage leaves in the locations that Grant made us visit.
We were flying at one point and we were at 30,000
Cactus
feet.
leaves, maybe.
The bub needed a feed, and so Chezzi's boobs are full. And if you ever fly, you've ever had a chip packet, right? When you go up at 30,000 feet, the chip packet expands. So
Yes.
all the air inside expands, so they get really big. So her boobs were like that. And then she's popped down the bra to start feeding the baby, and she shot the guy in front of us, the back of his head, with high-pressure milk.
No.
Yeah,
No.
just straight into the back of
Really
the head.
embarrassing.
It was hilarious.
And he's in a business suit. And so he's like felt behind his neck and he's like looking. And I was so embarrassed. I said, I'm so sorry, that's breast milk. His face was horrified.
It was like a hose.
Grant thought it was hilarious. This poor guy, he has to explain why he's got breast milk all down his back when he turns up at the office.
Imagine that conversation with his wife when he got home. He's just gone, mummy.
Oh my gosh. You've got 3 kids. Who are they like? Are they a mix of you? I mean, Grant, I could imagine that all I can imagine with you is that as a little kid, you must have been non-stop running everywhere, climbing over everything, tasting, doing it all, because you seem to be like that as an adult too. So, but who are the kids like?
Well, I was a pretty quiet and polite kid, a really well-behaved kid as a youngster. I sort of got a little bit more boisterous as I got older. I think the undiagnosed ADHD sort of magnified the older that I got. So I'm a bit more sensible than people think. I measure my risks more. Chezzi's actually the crazy loose one. And so our firstborn is more like
Thanks for calling me loose. That's really lovely.
Chezzi will do anything for a challenge. You never dare Chezzi because she'll do it.
We're talking pre-kids here, not now.
You ate 12 pizzas in one sitting.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Someone dared you to.
Yeah,
like
that's-
that's
12.
Yeah.
yeah, they paid me $50. But this, as I said, this
Oh,
is
of
before
course,
kids.
50
Yeah.
bucks. You need 24. Why'd you stop?
You need his stomach pumped after it.
Yeah, I was pretty wild as a kid.
Yeah.
But people always expect Grant to be really full on. But I'd probably describe you as a bit more of a sloth.
Oh, wow.
Oh, well, probably not a
Is
sloth.
there any
but
sexier
just-
animals out there?
No, well, not. I don't know. You're a lot quieter and a lot slower than what people think.
I'm more of an introvert than people
Yeah.
expect.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's you, Chez, that's got the wild streak in you.
Pre-kids.
Can I tell you a crazy story?
I'm now very sensible. No, we didn't.
This is the craziest story. And I nearly ended the relationship the day this happened. Should we tell them?
I don't know what it is, but I'm
Were you married?
concerned.
No, not yet. We're
Okay.
early days of courting.
Okay.
So we were hanging out at her best friend's unit, which was in Kirribilli.
Don't tell the
What
story.
floor was she on?
God, we're in a bathroom.
What floor was she on?
I don't know.
She was on like the 8th floor. Locked the keys inside the unit. So Chezzi, after a couple
Happened
of
quite a bit.
tequilas, decides to go up to level 9, the unit above, who we knew, climbs on the outside of the balcony, slides her hands down, and sort of swings her legs back and forward like a pendulum until she has enough motion that she can swing under the balcony, let go at the right time, and hopefully land on the inside of the railing of the apartment below. This is 8 stories up.
It was very mathematical. At the
Oh, you
time.
calculated the risk like your husband did,
I did. Yeah.
clearly, at that point.
Yeah.
I was like, if
And you-
this
so-
is who you are, I'm
So you
out.
clearly made it. Did you actually take the jump and let go?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, she made it.
Wow. Yeah, well, she's here to talk to us today.
Well, I realised that, but she might have pulled
figured that
herself
one
up. I don't know if she actually followed through with it. She's like,
But when it comes to, let's come down to unlock the door or die on the driveway below. Like there's the odds aren't in your favour there, and it's the risk is not worth the reward.
I was a bit silly. Yes, I'm not proud of that now that I'm a mum of kids, and I would kill my kids if they did that.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
because it seems very irresponsible. But I grew up on a farm and I climbed trees for fun.
So that's the difference between us. I go around closing all the cupboards in the house that she leaves open, and she swings below high-rise building balconies.
Grant, in your career, you've done what people would consider a lifetime's work. And I mean, according to your bio or your wiki page, you're only 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Self-edited wiki page.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you've hosted a bunch. You've done your motorsports. You've travelled the world. You've danced. You've done everything. Do you actively manifest? Do you goal set? Do you make New Year's resolutions? What do you do because you've had an incredible full 20 years of work behind you.
Thank you, mate. And that's coming from one of Australia's greatest media dynasties. So I appreciate that coming from you.
But there's three of us. There's one of you, mate.
When my mum and dad separated when I was 13, and we were living in the Central Coast in Gosford then, and mum went back to Melbourne and I lived with her because she had family down there. Dad then went to the Gold Coast. So I lived with mum, and we lived pretty lean. We didn't really have a lot of surplus. In the area that we lived in, I would look around and no one had a life that I kind of aspired to. No one was living a kind of life that I was like, wow, that's what I want to be. That's what I wanted to do. So I kind of made a decision at a young age that I'm going to try and get myself out of this and create the life I've always dreamed of. And to do that, I'm going to have to sever a lot of relationships, spend a lot of time on work and taking opportunities at the cost of relationships with family members and friends. But that was a conscious decision to do so because I thought we only get one shot at this life, and I didn't feel like there was a lot of hope or aspiration in the area where I grew up in, and I just thought there's maybe a little bit more to life, but I'm going to have to move out of here to do that.
What age were you?
Probably around 14 or 15. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's very mature thinking at that age. So if that 14-year-old boy, 15-year-old boy could see the career that you have had, would he have felt successful and gone, wow, I did it. This is the life that I wanted?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think all I really wanted to be was a race car driver, to be honest. But again, we weren't from a family that had a lot of money. So I was like, how do I become a professional racing car driver? And this is really the only reason I got into television, was I thought, if I'm on television, that's a really good way to find sponsors to go motor racing to pay for my motorsport. It was as simple and as childish and overly simplistic at the time. But that was my idea, and every night I would dream about it, and every night I would, I pray at night time, I try and sort of manifest the future, that I wanted because I knew I was up against it. But and I still do that today.
I was wondering about that. If you do visualize, do you do it together? Where do you see yourselves in 20 years' time?
Well, I was just about to say that's probably the hard thing that you find now is that you don't know what to manifest next, do you? We just try to be really grateful for what we've got, and that's definitely helped when we have close friends pass away, and you realise that life is extremely short, and we've lived a lot of life, and we're very lucky. And I know that you practice a lot of gratitude, but as far as manifesting, what comes next, we just want to be happy and healthy.
Yeah, I think I had a goal of making it in television and making it in motor racing, and I got to do 3 Bathurst 1000s and win a few championships. So I did that, ticked that box. I've hosted some great shows in Australia. I can tick that box. But yeah, right now I don't really know what to do next. I know that I've spent not thinking that I'm good enough or worthy is a major trait of mine. My self-talk is pretty savage. But I've always felt that as I'm sort of climbing the ranks, I'm only ever pretending to be bits of other people. You know, you just sort of fake it till you make it. You know, as a young bloke or a young professional, you're trying to upsell yourself. You're trying, like when they say, dress for the job you want, not the one you've got. I guess I behaved that way for so long, where I'd take a bit of, you know, maybe I want to be a little bit like one of the Daddos. Maybe I want to be a little bit like Daryl Summers. Maybe I want to be a little bit like Rove McManus and pinch a bit of Ellen DeGeneres. I've only ever been the accumulation of other people that I've seen. And so I feel when I watch myself on television that I don't ever feel like that's really me. I feel like I'm just a mirror of a number of pieces of people that I've pulled together to build this personality. So I feel like a fake. And, you know, I think winning the Gold Logie was, I kind of, there was a lot of relief that it's okay. You know, you've made it. You can relax now. You know, I felt like I've been running on the treadmill at 1,000 miles an hour for so long. You can just breathe. You've done it, mate. Well done. So I'm in a different phase as a result of that, I think.
Tell us about Sunday. She's recovering from hip dysplasia surgery. What is that, and how difficult has that been for both of you and for Sunday?
It's very difficult at the moment. We're 1 week down, so not a lot of sleep's been had.
It's traumatic to see them in such, because we've taken her mobility away from her just at the moment where she'd got it. She's only just over 1. It looks like a torture device. You know, it's really. I think it's harder for the parents, to be honest, than the kid.
I agree. Well, because I'm forever carrying her around, you know, trying to bounce her. She weighs 15.5 kilos when she normally would weigh 8 kilos. You know, it's heavy. She wants to be entertained, so we're singing the Wiggles, you know, all day, and you know, we have 2 other children and other bits and pieces that we need to do, so it's very time consuming. She's just frustrated. She wants to take this full body cast off, and it's hot, and you know, the nappies are gross, and you can't bath them for 6 weeks. You know, so I'm forever trying to do like little, you know, wash downs, and
well, at the end of those 6 weeks, they say they absolutely stink. Like the stench is
so bad,
unbelievable. So you know, it's a lot for them.
It is a lot for them, and it's a lot for us as well. And you know, we kind of thought it would be difficult, but we didn't quite realise just how time-consuming it would be, you know, for looking after her, the poor little thing. But yeah, she's got a hypermobile right hip joint, which when her legs are straight, the ball kind of doesn't sit in the socket. It's just sitting outside of it. And so she didn't have any other signs. A lot of the time people have different creases. You know, one leg will have a different crease to the other side in their like skin folds. She didn't have any of that, and it wasn't until she wasn't crawling and she was 1 that we thought something's not right here. So we took
Was she sort of was she moving in a different way? Was she sort of...
in a walker, she was dragging her right leg a bit.
But she would roll everywhere. She wouldn't crawl. She went straight to rolling, and that's all she would do. So she could roll all the way through the house. She became incredible at it, but we were wondering why she wasn't just, you know, on her knees. It's because she just couldn't. She wasn't stable.
And she'd had ultrasounds, but it wasn't until they did the X-ray that we saw how pronounced it is. Yeah, so we took her in last week for a procedure, and they kind of, you know, go in through a tiny little needle, and they put a nick in the tendon, and then put some dye into the hip joint, manually put the ball joint into the hip socket, and then plaster cast them from the waist down to the ankles in that position, like a frog position.
From the under the armpits down to the ankles. Yeah.
It's a big cast.
Right.
Yeah, and that just holds it, you know, there so that it can try and grow together and, you know, strengthen in that position.
You just don't want to see your kids hurting in
No.
any way.
No.
Do you?
And actually, when we went in the other day for the operation, I had forgotten that each time our other 2 had been in for an operation, tonsils out, Grant was always racing. So he'd never been in a hospital when one of the kids had been operated on. And you found it very confronting, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, it was just watching their little eyes sort of roll around in their head while they're out of it, or waking up and coming to and realising they can't move their own legs. It was horrific. Yeah, I really struggled with that.
You've dealt with adversity. You've obviously, Grant, you hurt yourself in that monster truck accident, and then you took time away from work later on. Recently, there's been this new story around Dancing with the Stars, which I was around I saw it, was around it, obviously. What does it feel like? Can you just tell me, because we see it on the magazine stand. We go, oh, well, and you see these fake headlines or whatever they are, and you see, for most people, they see it on a magazine, you go, oh, that's real. If it's printed and there's photographs, it's got to be real. What is it like for you to read stuff like that? Do you get a heads up that it's coming, or do you walk past the newsagent like we do and see it as a banner out the front?
You don't get a heads up. Maybe if you've seen the paparazzi photographer around, you'll know that they're hunting for something. They're just waiting for that photo that they can get to manipulate a manufactured story from. But you're right. Even if people aren't buying the magazines, they're still seeing them on the end of the supermarket aisles and they're walking past them. And people believe, there is truth in journalism because there normally is. But these magazines don't have to abide by that code whatsoever. So they can just do whatever they want. They can write whatever they want and say whatever they want, and there is no recourse. You don't have to declare your sources. So that's a legal entitlement that journalism has. So these tabloid magazines can exploit that by creating their own, a source close to the person said, a friend of the family said, an observer nearby said. That's how they qualify all their quotes, but they just write all the quotes themselves. And then they don't have to declare their sources. So if you sue them, they can sit on those sources, even though they might have written them themselves, and more often than not that's exactly what they've just done. You can't challenge that. There's a reason why you can't challenge that is because good journalism is about finding truth and digging deep. And sometimes if there's a really gritty story on, someone has to risk their life, their career, their reputation to come out and blow the whistle. So those people are protected by law. So good journalism can happen. These magazines are just exploiting a loophole. And it's something that I've been used to. I've been doing this for 20 odd years now. I've been used to being slapped and thrown mud at, and I've kind of accepted it as collateral damage for the career that I have chosen. And that's okay when it's just hitting me, but when it hits someone else, whether it be my wife, or my dance partner Lily, she's 23 years of age. She was paid by Channel 7 to move from Brisbane to Bathurst, become one of our family members, teach me how to dance, and now she's being accused of being a home wrecker. And that's when we were like, Chez and I are like, don't ruin her life. That's not what she signed up for. And that's when we sort of drew a line in the sand and said, no, we're going to take these guys on. And, we won. And they admitted, their full apology was, we completely fabricated this story up. There was no affair. We just lied. And I'm like, and then they just go about their business the next day.
But they do it so often.
Doing it to someone else.
They do it all the time. And when we investigated, taking it to the Press Council rulings stated that with these magazines, celebrities and royals have no recourse. If you are deemed a celebrity or you're a royal, they can make up anything about you. And it costs so much money to take these big corporations to court.
And it's very rare you ever get a successful outcome. Like the likelihood is very low.
We've started the process many a time, and we just had to pull out because we don't have $1 million behind us to put into a court case where they can just keep it going and going and going. But this particular one, we were really pissed off for a number of different reasons. It was the front page.
Well, we'll explain what the photo was. So it was Lily and I were outside a cafe just having a lunch break, like you do, mate, just sort of clearing your head and getting some sustenance, and we were just waiting for our order. We were sitting down on a window ledge just having a chat. We'd just been on the phone with Chezzi because Lily has been having some relationship issues with her partner, her boyfriend, and we were just sort of consoling her a little bit through it, and all I did was say, everything's going to be okay, and I gave her a little bit of a tap on the leg, and then that's when the photographer got that photo.
But it's a freeze frame, so I got the whole sequence of photos because then you can put it into context.
You can see
you can see that
tap.
that it was mid pat, and that's that's what he was after. He was after something that that they could write some kind of story about, and and that was it.
Again, I'm used to having mud thrown at me, but I have to go to school, drop my kids off, and stand there with all their other mums and dads, wondering if they're all looking at me thinking I'm the worst goddamn father and husband in the world, the worst person in the world. And that was a really difficult time because, like you said, everyone sees those covers and they go, oh, well, it must be real. Yeah. It was a very
and in this
difficult,
world
embarrassing
too,
time.
of cancel culture, you could have lost a gig.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the fine line that we
lost work, and it affects your life.
Absolutely.
Forever
absolutely.
too. It'll carry. It'll track. like a bad smell.
Yeah. Onto lighter stuff. This is a relationship podcast. What do you guys argue about, and how do you resolve your arguments?
By having a podcast, we're having much deeper chats than we've ever had, because we would often be ships passing in the night. So I'm going away for work all the time. You don't want to come back home and then just only have horrible things to figure out, or hard discussions or uncomfortable discussions. So we became very good at surface level chat. Funnily enough, because you've got 3 kids too, it's very difficult to actually get into the nitty-gritty. Once we started doing our own podcast, we just started talking so deeply about things that we'd never, ever spoken about to each other before. We've actually done a hell of a lot of healing on the podcast. It's actually, we've never talked like this before. And I don't know why, but it's been great.
All right, we do something called our 2-minute shower. So we're just going to fire some questions at you both, same question, and just keeping your answers nice and short for water conservation. You want to hit the first one, honey?
Yeah, sure. What's your best quality?
Optimistic.
I'm a good listener.
Well, that's not one word. So you're not a good listener, are you?
Boosh.
Ouch.
Who do you admire?
Oh, Miss Piggy. Well, she's tough and she kicks butt.
She describes our relationship as I'm the Kermit to her Miss Piggy. That's why.
Who do you look up to?
Diddy. Come on. Who do you admire?
Chezzi.
I admire people who can let water just run off a duck's back.
Well, that's what you're doing. You're letting the shower run with you.
And we live on tank water. We know what 2-minute showers are like.
There you go.
All right. Is there one moment in your life that you would like to revisit?
Weirdly, it was Dancing with the Stars. The memories were starting to fade, and it was the greatest period in my life, and I wanted to redo it. I wanted to redo one of the greatest things that ever happened to me.
Sunday's birth.
Oh.
Right on.
Okay, better answer than mine.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, there's no judge. There's no scoreboard here.
Okay.
In the shower.
No, it's a 9.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Todd McKenney says 9. Okay.
Jeez, that's pretty generous.
What's your favourite song to dance to?
Oh, crap. I can never think of a song.
Favourite karaoke song is Bonnie Tyler's Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Okay. I'll take it.
Hot potato at the moment.
Yep. Why not? I love it.
All right. The answer, the question that everyone wants to know the answer to: Ford or Holden?
I was a factory Ford driver for 10 years, so it's got to be Ford.
I sold Holdens. So it's Holden. It's Holden.
Ooh,
So you're a Holden sellout? Do you still like Holdens?
I do, yeah.
Chez.
Take the girl out of
Holden-
Bathurst.
Great. That's why you guys fit together.
Yeah. What is, okay, you can, obviously we need more than one word for this one. What does your perfect day look like?
Test day in a brand new racing car that I've never driven before. It's exciting. It's nerve-wracking, high speed, dangerous.
It's like living with me.
Yep. It's exactly what you are.
Yeah, you are a Ferrari, Chez.
The Ferrari to my Fiat.
It's been bumped around all the corners.
How about you, Chez? What would your perfect day look like?
Oh, do you know what? A day spa, a big cocktail on a beach somewhere would be really nice. Yep, feet in the sand and the sun.
Nice.
Close it up with this. Your partner in one word.
Sensitive.
Sunshine.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful. Guys, thank you so much for your time today. It's been really enlightening, and it's always great to hear different perspectives, and I think our listeners have you've been very kind and generous, allowing them to hear a different side of you guys. It's been beautiful.
Thank you, mate. I think sharing a dressing room together on Dancing with the Stars will always bring people closer together. But I've enjoyed your company, mate. You're a very warm person to be around. You feel very safe and protected, in your company. I definitely enjoyed our moments backstage, and it's been wonderful to share this with you now.
He did come home and say all of that. It is legit. He was very, I was going to say touched by you. That sounds a bit wrong. But
in that leather outfit, you can't say those words.
Well, it's commonly known as the GIMP outfit in our household now.
And I will say, Grant, that Cam came home saying very similar things about you too. He just kept saying, he's such a good guy, honey. He's such a good guy. Yeah.
Hey, the final of Dancing with the Stars is on this week, and you have won the show before, Grant. You said it was an amazing time. Your journey on the show has been incredibly beautiful and vulnerable. Look, may the best person win. And yeah, thanks a lot, and thanks so much for your time.
No worries, mate. Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Grant. Thanks, Chezzi.
Good people. Good country folk.
That's a bromance. You've got a bromance with Grant, I'd say.
He's just a super bloke. And I didn't know him. Obviously he came to prominence when we were still living in the States, and I didn't know. I mean, I knew who he was because he was Eddie everywhere. So, but what a terrific bloke, and she's lovely.
Yeah. What an interesting couple, and a different. It was so lovely getting to know them just briefly there, because the different personas of what you think Grant is going to be like and what he really is like, and to use that word sensitive is just really, I loved that about him, because, you see this sort of wild and crazy, energetic larrikin, and there's another side to him that is more of his genuine side in a lot of ways. And that was really, really beautiful to see that.
You have to be sensitive in order for him to do what he's done in like even hosting a game show. You've got to be sensitive and aware of what's going on around you. Even though it's up and bright and fizzy and bubbly and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You have to be sensitive. You've got these people in front that you need to draw out the best from them. So if you're not sensitive, and I mean that's why he's good. That's why he's good at it and continues to be so. And we didn't get to talk about his acting, but he's so good in Preppers.
There's so much that he's done that we didn't touch on, but it was just nice to sort of get that snippet of his home life and talk to Chezzi. She's fabulous. Love her. Yeah.
I'll take you to Bathurst. We'll go take him out for a coffee or something.
Yeah.
He can take me for a spin around the track, and you and Chez can go and do a day spa together.
There you go. Love it.
You like doing that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you for being with us today. It's been a really enlightening, fun chat with the Denyers.
Indeed. Join us next time on Separate Bathrooms, and thanks so much for listening.